What's going on, everybody? It's Joe with Techternative. Today we're going to be going over how to actually data transfer. So we're finally getting to the point where we're actually migrating our data from TrueNAS over to Unraid. Finally getting here. So just a little overview. We are going to be using RSYNC. RSYNC is a transfer protocol that is usually made for backing up data, right? So what happens when you utilize just a copy over, and during that copy, especially with a large data transfer, what happens when that data is, or you stop, or there's a blip in the network and your data stops transferring. So what rsync does is fixes the recopying of other data. So if I'm using a FTP and I'm trying to transfer data that's already in the share, then it's going to error, right? Because that data is already there. It's already got the same name, blah, blah, blah. Whereas rsync, if there is a glitch in the data transfer, then when you redo rsync, it's going to see that those files are already there and just skip those files and copy the new files over. So it's really used for data backup. So if you wanted to take all your data in your Unraid or your TrueNAS or whatever NAS solution that you're using and back it up to a cold storage, that way, for whatever reason, your Unraid blows up, then you still have a copy of your data. So you do it weekly, you do it monthly, whatever, you do a cold backup. You can use rsync, for example, to do that. Today we're going to be using it just because I'm going to set it and forget it. There's a few terabytes of data in my TrueNAS currently, so this just gives me the opportunity, if it doesn't transfer all right the first time, then I can just run it multiple times without having to worry about anything being recopied or being missed or XYZ, what happens with that one. So rsync is a great tool for copying data. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to set up the unassigned plugin app, whatever. I'm going to use those interchangeably because to me they're the same thing. So the app unassigned devices we set up in the last video, we're going to be utilizing that to mount my TrueNAS just because it's easier. So I could just log into my TrueNAS or copy. rsync you can copy and log into a share just through SSH, right? So you can just SSH into your Unraid. You can say, I need to copy this utilizing this username in this location. That'll prompt you for a password and then I'll copy the data. I'm just going to mount it to my Unraid and then run the RSYNC command from my Unraid's CLI from the mounted TrueNAS to my Unraid share. So just going to make it a little bit easier for me, but you can just copy straight from TrueNAS to Unraid to the CLI. So there's no real reason to do it. I just think it's going to be a little bit easier because then I don't have to log in. It's already logged in. So it's already got access to the TrueNAS data, so I can just copy it over. So let's switch over to Unraid and let's get to getting here. So let's go over to main and let's mount this file share. So we're going to be using our unassigned devices. We're going to be assigning the SMB share and select protocol. So NFS or SMB. We can utilize both for this since I have both set up on the TrueNAS. So we're just going to select SMB. Why not? Select the server. We'll just type in the IP address of my TrueNAS server, which I think is 213. Next, we're going to be utilizing that Joe username, password. Let's copy the password over. Next, domain, don't really need that. And this is how you can tell if you're mounting it correctly. So I'm just going to load shares. So there's only one share over there. It loaded it. So I know that I have access to that TrueNAS. So you can just copy it manually, but you can also load the shares, and that's how you can kind of do a sanity check if you're actually mounting to the right place. So let's click done there. So that's adding it to my device, and now I just need to mount it. So I'm going to mount it. So I mounted it, and now I just need to get the location of the mount point. So I'm just going to click on the hyperlink down here, and now I know that my directory is named this. So I'm going to reference this in my command in my CLI. So I'm just going to copy that over. I have a little notepad over here I'll show you in a second with the command, and then just easy enough to just copy and paste straight into the command prompt. So I got the directory for the TrueNAS, and now if I go over to shares, I'm going to do the same thing for where I'm going to put all the data for here. So I'm going to click on that little button, and then I'm going to copy over the index or the directory of my actual file share. All right. And then I'll show the command here I'm going to be running. So it's going to be rsync -avh. So basically, A is the archive flag, V is verbose, so it's going to actually print out what it's doing, and then H I think just gives a progress, so it's going to progress, tell me how long or how short, how much time is going by. So you definitely want to at least get the A involved. There's different flags that you can use. I decided on these two or these three flags based on the documentation for rsync. And then it's just a basic command. You do rsync, your flags, your source destination, your source, then your destination. I always do everything in quotes just in case there's any spaces or anything like that. If there's no spaces, you technically don't need to put it in quotes, but I just put in quotes because it's just something I'm just naturally doing. A lot of people use spaces in their file directories. I try to either do Camelback, so it's, they're all squished together, but I just, give a capital letter in the name or an, underscore or XYZ. So I try not to use spaces, but if you do use spaces, use quotes. And then that's going to be the command we type in. Let's go over to the CLI, and then we will SSH into, I'm just going to use my root 215. We're just going to ask us for a password. Oops, I'm fat fingering that. And I'm in my Unraid. Let's do, I can show you ls, and let's just go to, is it user? No, it's mount. CD mount user, or, okay, so the user? Let's try this mount. Oh yeah, it is user. So CD. Oh, there's a user 0, and then this is where my unshare drive is. So let's just CD into unshared quick. Nothing in there. If we do a CD to the mount point for TrueNAS, we could just type that square in. Actually, I'm just going to copy and paste. So that's the beauty of just doing it from the command prompt, is I can just copy and paste from there, and it'll move right in there, and then you can see all of the files. All right, now that we have the unshared file drive just kind of shown that it's empty, let's just do a quick file transfer test to make sure everything is working and our command is good to go. So let's pull up the command here. Let's do a test file. So we're just going to break it down. Again, we're going to do an rsync -avh, and then we're going to do the same mount point here. Let's see if I can copy this. Guess it's already, let's just copy the command. I guess it's already on the clipboard, so let's just do, if we go to, let's do, there's a Plex folder, and then there's a div x movies, all one word, I believe. Let's just verify that quick. And the way that we want to build out this command is, all right, yep, so that was the right one. So we want all the files that are in this, and we're just going to put it in this unshared folder. So building it out, do we want, so the // matter in Linux. So do you want to copy this folder plus all of the files that are in this folder over to this unshare? So then it will build out a mount point. That'll be mount user unshare / div x movies. Or do you just want the files within divx movies, which would then just put the files into the unshare? So if we copy this over, I'll show you what I'm talking about quick. So we copy that. Hopefully that works. It does work. So then let's move over to the, so it's kind of showing. So it's copying that movie, and then it's copying that movie's folder. So it built out that folder under unshare, and then it built out the links. So in this divx movies folder, it then copied this over, and then in this divx movie folder, it copied this over. So if we go over to what's it, divx movies, cd quotes and quotes. What? Why is it cd divx? Weird, maybe didn't like the quote. Oh, because whatever, it doesn't matter. So you can see that inside of the unshared, it created the divx movies folder, and then it put all the folder or all the information from that folder in there. So let's show what it looks like when we don't do the, if we put in a / after divx movies. So in this right here, if we put a / after this, I'll show you what that looks like. And that's what I want to do, because I don't want to bring in this folder. I just want all the files underneath this folder. So let's cd back quick, and then we'll do a remove -r divx movies ls empty. And then let's go back up to this command. Where is it? And then let's put a /. So now it should just move all these files directly under the unshare. That's what it should do. And it looks like it did, and we'll do an ls, boom. So that's what I want it to look like. So when we build out our real one, we don't want to put in that folder. So add in that additional / and we should be good. All right, so now without removing this folder, I'm just gonna do a remove, and I'm just gonna just remove that one by one, so I don't remove the folder. I think I can just do an rm-rf, and then do, I'm not the best Linux guy, and then do a /*. And if I did that, okay, so it's still there. So if I did cd back, okay, my unshare is still there. So that did work. So an rf. I don't think I needed the F, because I think the F is just for folders as well, but it doesn't really matter. So if it's anything, a recursive plus folders, files, all the things. All right, and then let's start transferring the actual data. So we will copy this over. Let's make sure it looks good. So we want to copy all the folders underneath, everything underneath this folder. We don't want to copy this folder. We want to copy everything underneath this folder to my unshare. Let's kick this off, and then we will end the video, as long as this looks good. And that looks like it's good. Let's just refresh over here, and yep. So we didn't copy over that folder. We copied all the contents within that TrueNAS folder. So we'll just let that run. There it goes. It's just copying all of it. So we'll let that run. I don't know how long it's going to take. There's a few terabytes of data over there, so it probably will take however long it takes. I'm not sure. I'll give you an update when we do it. However, if you did like the content, if you did like struggling through some of the commands, and just kind of, we're just going through it. We don't really know Unraid. We are migrating to it. We're just kind of fumbling our way through and having some fun with tech. So if you're enjoying the content, if you want to see in the next video, we're going to be spinning up a Plex Docker with the data that we have transferring from TrueNAS. So we have a bunch of movies and shows and stuff obtained legally that we're going to be spinning up a Plex server, and then we're eventually going to shut down the TrueNAS and only run the Unraid Plex server, and that's the goal. So if you do want to see that piece, do look out for the next video. If not, if you did enjoy the content, if you just want to like, subscribe, that'll make my day. If not, no big deal. If you have any suggestions or comments, just leave them down in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about it. And then if not, follow me on all the socials, all the things. I'll link all of my documentation and everything down below, so you can just copy and paste any of the commands that I ran, screenshots, etc. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.